Some things are just inevitable in life. Death, taxes, and you acting like you're not going to buy the next FIFA, and then you go and buy it. But this year it's different. You are not going to buy the next FIFA because you are going to buy the EA Sports FC. That's why. Talk about the wonder kids from FIFA 14. Where are they now? Some of them went on to have highest of highs, and some of them went on to have the lowest of lows. So stick around to the video to see which one is the most interesting for you. Let's start off with one of the biggest names on this list, with Thibaut Courtois, who had a rating of 84 rated with a potential of 88. Now, if you care about FIFA ratings, one, why do you? You might need to start looking at actual football. But two, he has a 90 rated in whatever this new FIFA is and last year's FIFA, meaning he did go on to exceed his expectations. Again, if you care about FIFA ratings. But let's talk about the Belgian goalkeeper. For my money right now, for the last 2, 3, 4 years, he has been one of the best keepers in the world, single-handedly keeping Real Madrid in so many competitions. And let's not forget that Champions League final alone is why, for my money, he is the best keeper in the world. This is undoubtedly one of the biggest success in this whole list. Even his time at Atletico Madrid, when he kept one of the least amount of goals ever in a season, 2014 getting to a final there, and then eventually getting his Champions League final when he went to the right side of Real Madrid. If you ask certain Real Madrid fans, I assume if you ask all Real Madrid fans, now I think about it, I don't see really a world where Real Madrid fans would admit that Atletico is bigger than them. I don't know, maybe they like playing the small complex. Let's go on to the next one. Let's go second on this list, who is one of the biggest names if we go by Instagram follows. Again, if you care about that, probably should care about that even less than FIFA ratings, but hey, here we are with James Rodriguez, who for me unfortunately didn't live up to his high potential that we know he had. He's now playing with Sao Paulo with another player that we'll get onto in the list, so leave a comment if you know who the other player is and make sure you're listening to the end. There you go. The Colombian had a rating of 83 with a potential of 89. Unfortunately, he never really managed to find his foot at the place that did pick him up, Real Madrid, as Zinedine Zidane did not end up liking him that much and preferred using another playmaker in Isco, and of course like the Modric, Casemiro and Toni Kroos midfield, which you can't really blame the bold guy. He won 3 Champions Leagues in a row with them. Went to Bayern Munich on loan with Ancelotti, who is a big theme, obviously the man that brought him in at Real Madrid, then went to link back up with him at Bayern Munich, and at one point it did look like he was going to get his career back to highs of where it used to be, but if for some reason he never actually made the permanent signing and decided to go back to Real Madrid, then followed Ancelotti all the way to Everton, and it looked like his career was going to get back on par. For the first 6 months he generally looked like that player that we all saw in the 2014 World Cup, but unfortunately it never stayed, and he did an abracadabra, and then out of nowhere he basically vanished, and like I said, now he's playing in Sao Paulo, and for me unfortunately it's a big what if, that career. I didn't say this in the intro because I'm just a daredevil and cool like that, but I'm gonna do this in traffic light system. Of course Courtois gets a green. This for me is an amber. James Rodriguez had the potential to be one of the best playmakers in the world and one of the best players in general in the world. We all watched that 2014 World Cup. He was one of the best individual performances I've seen in my lifetime, but then again I'm only as big as a fetus. Next up we got Jack Wilshere, who had an 82 rated with a potential of 89 rated. This one's a little bit peculiar to me. I never really saw Jack Wilshere and James Rodriguez on the same level. I thought James Rodriguez was Ballon d'Or level. That's how much I rated him, where Jack Wilshere gave me more of the vibe that he could be one of the best players in the Premier League. But nevertheless, this one unfortunately has to be our first red, which is so sad to say because obviously it's such big circumstances of why it's a red, because of injuries, kept plaguing his career, kept plaguing them every time. Arsenal fans and English fans alike are absolutely huge fans of it. So am I, to be honest, but I would be lying if he went on to go anywhere near that potential. Florentino Perez, Jamie Savile, because all he used to see is young kids and a bit of potential. For reference, Florentino Perez, don't sue me, because one, that's a waste of time, I literally have nothing to sue, but two, because I was just joking. With the number 4 coming in with Isco with a potential rating of 89 again and a rating of 84. Now this one I'm gonna give a green. Now some may absolutely disagree with me, some may be questioning why is there so many Real Madrid players in it. I don't make FIFA, I don't know. Stop asking. Subscribe. Look at us, we're getting along like a married couple. 84 rated at the time, potential to 89. This one I somewhat agree with as well. Did he go on to have a better career than James Rodriguez and Jack Wilshere? For me, my money, yes. He had 5 Champions League. What more can you say? Zinedine Zidane preferred him over Gareth Bale, the most expensive signing at the time. Again, what more do you have to say? He's absolutely killing it, must be said, at Real Betis right now, which is an absolute amazing thing for me to see because I've always been a big Isco fan. So to see him get back on his feet absolutely amazingly, incredible to see. If you're not a Real Madrid fan, you'll be absolutely happy to hear that the next one is not a Real Madrid player, as it's Marquinhos, who at the time had a 78 rating and a potential to 89. Again, if you care about these FIFA ratings, he did go on to eventually have that 89 rated, but we're more going to be talking on the football place here. And on the football side, he was one of the best centre-backs in the world. Now, a lot of people don't rate him that highly because of the fact that he played in Ligue 1 for a long time, and as we know, I don't rate PSG that much, but nobody can deny the partnership him and Thiago Silva had was one of the best partnerships for many years, rivaling even Ramos and Pepe and Chiellini and Bonucci at one point. And it should also be stated that Thiago Silva joined the Premier League when he was 46,000 years old and still was one of the best centre-backs in the world. So I don't doubt his Brazilian counterpart that is still at PSG now won't be able to do a good job if he moves to a top league. We're back with Real Madrid players because of course we are, but this time, to be fair, Real Madrid fans probably act like this one doesn't exist because it's Eden Hazard with a rating of 85 and a potential of 90. Now this one was a little bit cheeky by FIFA. I think we wouldn't notice, but Eden Hazard at this point was already an established one of the best players in the Premier League and already one of the best players in the world. So this was a little bit cheeky from FIFA, trying to act like this one's a ooh, look at me guessing it kind of thing. But nevertheless, Eden Hazard, as we know, went on to have a great career, one of the best players Chelsea has ever had. But unfortunately, when he made the move to Real Madrid, he was one of the biggest flops in the history of football, and probably Real Madrid's biggest ever flop. Right now, the Belgium international has retired from the Belgian national team and has retired from football as a whole, as he is more interested in being a McDonald's influencer. In the prestigious white colours for an even more prestigious white colour, for the most prestigious white colour of them all, Tottenham Hotspur. I'm not a Tottenham fan, just for reference. It's just that I feel like I violate Tottenham too often, so I feel like I was going to be a bit more nicer right now. And the player in question we're talking about is Lucas Moura, who, to be fair, was a PSG player at the time. He had a rating of 81, a potential of 90. I'm going to have to give this one an amber, as one of the first things I think about Lucas Moura, unfortunately, other than the obvious thing that we'll get on into a second, is how good he was for FIFA. And that really shouldn't be your only thing that you should be thinking about as a professional footballer, but unfortunately that is what it is. But I'm going to give the reason why he's got an amber and not a red is because we all know that Champions League semi-final to take Tottenham Hotspur to their first ever Champions League final in the history of their club, a hat-trick against Ajax at their own backyard. Undoubtedly that alone just gets him the amber. It doesn't matter if he literally didn't play a single football before that or after that, that alone gets you an amber. But unfortunately can never get a green because his potential was 90, meaning he was going to be one of the best players in the world, and I don't think anybody would say Lucas Moura went on to be the best player in the world. As for where his whereabouts are right now, considering you guys are more ravished and interested in their careers than an FBI agent, he's playing in Sao Paulo as of right now. Unfortunately, his career just wound down ever since that Champions League final goal. I think Spurs fans kind of accepted him just being on the bench just for that moment alone, but clearly that was his last opportunity now, and now he's gone to Sao Paulo where no doubt about it his career is going to be winding down. Mario Götze is the one up next, and this one for me is the hardest one to pick from, as I don't know whether to give him an amber or a green. The reason I will be giving him an amber, as he was an 85 rated at the time with a potential of 90, meaning he would go on to be one of the best players in the world, and nobody can deny he was not one of the best players in the world. He had a brief period where he felt like that. They called him the German Messi after all. Maybe that was too over the top giving him such names as that, but nevertheless he never even reached the level where you would have him in contention for one of the best players in the world. Mario Götze turned into Super Mario as he scored the only goal in the 2014 World Cup final in added time to get his beloved country a World Cup. He got hauled about between Dortmund and Bayern Munich, as most Dortmund and Bayern Munich players that don't end up being great success do. And unfortunately, in the end, he left to go to PSV, and now he's playing at Eintracht Frankfurt, where he's just kind of average and just there, kind of living his life. And last but nowhere near least, Neymar, who is undoubtedly the biggest name on this list, and who undoubtedly went on to have the best career out of everybody on this list. At the time, he had a rating of 84 with a potential of 91. Again, this is a little bit cheeky by FIFA, as he was one of the best players in the world at this point, even though he was playing these traits at Brazil. But that's just how great of a player Neymar was, that he was in the contention for one of the best players in the world while not playing in top 5 league. We've never seen the likes of that again still to this day. Neymar, we all know how great he was. Went to Barcelona, we had maybe one of the greatest trios of all time, won the Champions League being such a crucial part for that. Controversial decision to join PSG at 2007, till this day still the most expensive signing of all time, coming around 220 million depending on bonuses, and unfortunately he did never live up to that price tag, as coming for that much money you have to be a UCL winner. So his time at PSG, if I was to give it, is an amber. The reason his career overall is green for me is that Barcelona time in particular. Undoubtedly the third best player in the world, depending on who you ask. Another evidence if you don't believe he should be green, and there are certain people out there that do believe that, to be fair. He is obviously Brazil's all-time top goal scorer, one of Brazil's best players. Yes, he never got to bring the World Cup to Brazil, which is unfortunate, but unfortunately the team players around him was never as good as the people that Pele, R9, Ronaldinho and so many others had around them. Let's be honest, gang, if you don't know who Neymar is and you're watching this video, you probably clicked it by accident and you're just charmed by my amazing voice. Don't worry, many people do. Or two, you got a brain of a goldfish. Again, that's fine. Just keep making new accounts to subscribe to me on. Is all for the video, people. Please let me know in the comments who do you believe went on to fulfill their biggest potential. That doesn't necessarily mean who's the best player, just their expectations compared to where they eventually went to be. Who had the biggest expectations that went on to flop in this video? Let me know. There was no other video. If you want me to make another video about FIFA 14, maybe even FIFA 13, we can do so many of these. Even FIFA 20 if we want to be that recent and that crazy, even though we can write them off that early. We're just crazy on the place of football. But you know what would be even more crazy? If you don't subscribe to this video and you don't like this video, this is the place for us. Please do subscribe.